Hello, everybody, and hello to the audience of the Budapest International Documentary Film Festival. My name is Manuel Contreras. I work as a selector for the film festival, and now are going to have a conversation online with the director of a little girl, uh, Sébastien Lish Lifschitz. I'm sorry, Sebastian. Hello, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, finally. It's a shame that we cannot have you here in person, but that this is the situation
Yeah, I'm so
here.
sorry, but I mean, like every countries, we have to stay home.
Yes, yes, now I have to stay home. Yeah. So your film is basically a film about Sasha and her family, and all this, and you're following closely this family, seeing this uh, very special situation. Uh, and so my first question is of course, um, how was the process of getting there or finding this story? How did you find it, and how did you start to shoot?
Well, it was 2 years ago, and I was looking for a transgender kid. And, as soon as I had this idea, because many years ago, I did a film portrait of Bambi. Bambi is one of the first French transgender women in France. She was born in 1935. And when I met her, she was much older, and she told me her story. And I remember that I have asked her when did she felt the first time that she was a woman. She was born as a boy, and so I asked her if there was a moment when she was sure of her first feeling of being a woman, and she answered me that she had uh, there was not a special moment because there was not like a start. She always felt that she was a woman since she was very very little. And I remember that I was really amazed by this answer because I thought, like a lot of people, that when you are a transgender person, that you realize um, that you are the other sex during the puberty, during the adolescency, during the beginning of your sexuality, but it has nothing to do with it. I've realized with my silly question with Bambi that most of the time, a lot of transgender person, they felt as transgender since they're very, very young. And then I had this idea that it could be very interesting to make a portrait of a very young kid today and to tell that story, how it is to be a transgender kid today. How is it with your family? How is it with the school? How is it with this outside world? I thought that it would be very important just to know more, about this situation. And then uh, I told this to my producer, and she said, yes, I mean, it's a great idea, of course, but how can we find such a kid, because you can't go to a school and ask for, a trans kid. It's not, it doesn't work like this. So little by little, we realized that it was impossible just to find a trans kid just like that, with some association or to go to a school or something like that. And then we discovered that there was on internet some forum where some parents are exchanging some information, parents who has a trans kid. And so I remember that we put an announce on one of these forum, because also what you need to know that in France there is very very few places, there is no institution when you have a trans kid, um, where you can go and ask for some help, and where you can ask some questions. Most of the parents who has a trans kids, you know, they are totally lost most of the time. They don't know how to deal with the situation, and it's something most of the time very new. And basically, there is quite any help around you. So this forum for them is important because at the minimum, they can exchange with other parents their experience. They can share some information, you know, that something that they know of the daily life, you know. And so we put this announce, and two mothers answered me, one from Canada. Mm-hmm. And I remember that this mother in Canada told me that in Canada, the situation of trans people are really good. That it was, I mean, the society is very, understand very well, you know, this kind of question, especially about kids. And she has a trans kid, and it was really, I mean, there was no problem at all there, you know. And she said, just come over, you know, you will see this is the paradise, you know, for trans kids in Canada. And so at first I was very surprised because I didn't know that it was, I mean, that the society was so open-minded, you know, there about this question. And then, but, you know, I was looking for a family in France. So I had to decline. And at that time, the mother of Sasha wrote me an email, and she was asking me questions about my intention, you know, for the film. And so we had some email exchanges. We shared some emails, you know, and then she said to me, okay, I would like to meet you in person. And so we met, only her and me. I remember it was, about 2 years ago. And it was a very important rendezvous, you know, because that was really the beginning of the process of the film, actually. Mm-hmm. And Karine, the mother of Sasha, at this meeting was like she is in the film, very intense, very moved. She's a very emotional person, you know. She's very true. And I think she was testing me, you know. She really wanted to know the kind of person I was, and what kind of film I wanted to do. And I really liked her at first sight, you know, because she was very true, very sincere. And that was something that I really love about her.
Mm-hmm. And I guess,
I mean, my answer is very long. I'm sorry, but
no.
Is a process, you know.
And still it's the beginning of the process, because afterwards, I guess it's not like then to gain their trust is the next step. And I was curious about, I guess you gave me already half of the answer, but this process of gaining their trust, like of the family and also of Sasha, how did it go?
Well, the thing is, the mother of Sasha asked me if she could watch other films that I did before. And I think that was a part of the trust, you know, that she was really relieved in a way that she liked what I did before, the other films I made. And that was a kind of reference for her, you know. And then, I mean, also the rest of the family. And also at this first meeting with her, I mean, I could see that she was a bit lost in a way. She was exhausted because the fight with the school was already there, you know, for months and months. And she was quite alone in this battle, you know, with the school. And she didn't know how to deal with it. It was so intense and so difficult. And for the first time, she had a person in front of her that was not judging her, that was at the opposite. I really understood what she was dealing with, you know, and I could understand her anger and also her, yes, I mean, yeah, she was exhausted in a way. And so for the first time, she just had someone in front of her that understood her, you know. So that was really a good connection in a way. And then I remember she said to me, okay, next time you come at home and I will introduce you to the whole family. And then I remember it was like 2 weeks after I came for tea time, you know, with a cake, and the whole family was there. And it's funny because I remember very well that my first impression was like it was a kind of fairy tale, because I could feel in the room the love and the connection, the very special connection that the family has all together. You know, there is a kind of solidarity and caring, you know, with each other, and I was really amazed by that. You know, it was a very special atmosphere. You know, something very delicate, and then I realized after that probably it was because of the situation of Sasha. The family has built a kind of shield around Sasha, a shield of protection, and they are very they be careful with her, you know, and also with the person from outside, you know.
Yeah.
And probably that's why they have this special bond, you know, all together, you know, that there was this kind of tenderness and love, you know, that they have. And for me, I don't know, I felt I was in a kind of this little house with this little garden with this very tender family. There was something really, really touching.
And then Sasha, she comes across as a very determined uh, person, as a very determined child. You know, as that like she really knows what she wants. How did that? I guess that played also a role in you being able to shoot with them and to select them. You know, like having this such a special character as her.
Well, Sasha is Sasha, you know. and and I could see that she was really smart, really determined person. She knows exactly what she wants and what she doesn't want. And I remember very well at the beginning of the shooting, I asked her if I could come and film her into her room. And I knew that her room was a very special place for her. It was a kind of secret room because it was a room full of toys for girls, and and since the beginning of the shooting, she had no guests, you know, into her rooms, you know. So I knew that my demand was quite special, and then after a moment, she said to me, "Well, okay, you can come." And so we went there, and I've prepared the camera, and I said, "Okay, I just want to film you playing with your toys like you do every day." And basically this is all, you know, what I'm looking for. And then when the camera was ready, she just sat in front of the camera on her bed, and she didn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just waiting of I don't know what. And I said, so I was very surprised, and I said, "Don't you want to play with your toys?" And she said to me, "No, because normally when I play with my toys, I'm alone."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yes, I know, but you know, I'm supposed to do a film with you. So, I mean, just act like if I wasn't there and just do what you do like every day." And she said, "No, because you're there. So I can't do it." And I was so surprised, you know, of this answer because she was so frank, you know, and so, in a way, there was no discussion, you know. it was like this, you know. And then I've realized that it was a very good answer, actually, because it was a way with her that she was telling me that she didn't want to play. She didn't want to play to be an actress, you know. I have to film her in her daily life during an action or during a special moment, you know. But she didn't want to produce something for the film, you know, and she didn't want to invent something for the film. I had just to get something in the moment, you know. There was no way that she wanted to be yeah, like an actress and to act, you know. And for me, that was a very, I don't know, that this answer was really, really important, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you could really understand that she was aware of all this process, you know, of filming. And I remember there was a second moment really that is in the film, actually. At the very end of the film, she's playing in her bed, and when she puts her head upside down, and I remember we were in her room preparing the camera, and she was just playing, I mean, simply in her bed. And when I saw this, you know, this moment when she put her head down, it was so beautiful with this light, and I don't know, there was something really special. So I said to the cameraman, just record this, you know, just, I mean, very discreetly. And I said, put the camera on, you know. And then you could see during the shot that first she doesn't look at the camera. She's just playing with herself. And then after maybe 1 minute or two, she realized that the camera is on. And she's just looking in front of I mean, into the camera, just saying to me, I know you're filming and it's okay. You know, she didn't say any word, you know, but it was a way for her, I mean, just the way she looked into the camera was a way to tell me, I know what you're doing and that's fine, you know. And for me, that was a so mature attitude, you know, in the process of filming.
Yes. And I wanted to ask you, since it is always complicated and difficult and delicate to shoot with kids, uh, were there any, you know, restrictions that you had or self-imposed restrictions that you had? Okay, like, you know, in order to this we're not going to film, or this we are not going to show, or like, you know, these things that in films, in documentary filmmaking, you do in order to protect your characters. Were there such situations, you know, like self-awareness of not crossing any line, of being
Well,
truthful?
I mean, with Sasha, the only limit that I have was, I mean, that was a part of the deal with the family. Karin, the mother, just said to me, okay, if anybody in the family asks you to stop, you have to stop.
Hmm.
If the moment, if they are tired of anything, you just have to stop the camera. And so I said, sure, of course, you know, I don't want to push anybody to do something that he doesn't want to do. And I mean, this is not how I'm working, you know. So there was no problem for me. And I think my goal, my position as a filmmaker was to make a film not with empathy, you know. I wanted to be really with Sasha, to be the closest I could, just to get her emotion and to make people understand her inner life, you know. And I didn't want to be objective. I didn't want to put a distance between me and her, you know. I didn't want to be clinical. For me, Sasha is not a case, you know, she's a person. So, and I wanted to be so close to her and really at her level, I would say, you know. I'm doing the film with her. For me, that it's not about her, it's with her and her family. That was something very important. The title of the film is Little Girl, you know. So for me, she's a little girl. This is my point of view, you know. she's saying to me, I'm a little girl. And I said to her, yes, sure, of course you are, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And voila.
Yeah. As we watched the film, also, I personally had the feeling that the film itself was also giving way to some developments in the family as about how to go with this. Was that the case? Because I started feeling that because there is a process of reconciliation as well during the film, you know, of exploring other options, and also you see, for example, in the character of the mother, that she starts as one person and ends as another person, as a person who's um, more confident about the whole situation and taking more control of it. So, did your film play a part in you know, like sparking this situation? It helped the family like go through all this.
Well, you know, it was a 1 year shooting, you know, so of course a lot of things happened during this year, and especially the first meetings at the hospital with the pedopsychiatrist was a great help, you know, for the family and for Sasha. And also there was this battle with the school, you know, that was so rough and so unfair and cruel. And so at the beginning, I remember that the family was very, very emotional, very um, full of anger in a way, you know, because that for them that it was impossible that the school refused, you know, to accept Sasha as a little girl. And but little by little, meeting after meetings and discussions after discussion, then this, they have succeeded, you know, to make her accepted as who she is, you know. But it took 1 year, you know, even more because the year before that the filming was that I was filming, you know. I mean, the battle with the school didn't appear with the film, you know. It was existing a long time before, you know. So, but the conclusion was quite positive.
And for example, the school is a place that we don't see in the film. It's
Yeah.
And it's because it was not possible to shoot in the school, or was it a decision, you know, like because we can see that there are many possible approaches to this, that even can be as simple as not possible, or, you know, this is your approach to the film.
No, no, no. I mean, the thing is, I've tried to film, of course, at school, you know, and I've asked them many times, you know, but there was no way for them to accept a camera into the school. And even more, they said to me, if you come near the school with your camera, they sent me a letter from their lawyer saying that if the camera just approached the school and if there was any pictures of the school or any mention of the school, I mean the name, you know, or the address or anything, they sue us. They will sue us, you know. So it was really, I mean, the school was really, really tough, you know, with us, you know, and with the family, but also with the crew, with the production, you know, and with me, you know. They really didn't want the film. You can see there is a scene in the film when we have tried to organize a meeting with the pedopsychiatrist in near the school, and just to help them, you know, in a way to make them understand, you know, what is a trans kid, you know. And the pedopsychiatrist really took the time to come there. It's 2 hours of travel, you know, from Paris to go there. So it was a kind of a journey for her, you know, because she's so busy, and the school knew all this, you know, and they refused to come. So no, really, that was. But for me, the school was a kind of symbol of the society in a way that you can see that it's still so difficult today for some people just to understand and to accept, you know, this kind of situation, you know, and all this and what is it to be trans, you know? It seems that it's impossible for them to understand and to accept it.
And in your words, how would you define this? That's also something that I was wondering while watching the film. Is that like, how is the tolerance to these circumstances in France at the moment? How do you see it, and how do you see would be like a good model for it?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what.
I was while watching your film, I was wondering, what are the how is the tolerance to these circumstances in France? We get a glimpse of how it is through the film, but I was curious about knowing in your words, and like and what you would say about being like a good model for dealing with these circumstances, and of course to be more tolerant about this.
I think the situation is still difficult in France about the trans community. You know, they have to fight all the time. They have to fight with the doctors, with their family, with because the thing is, Sasha has. I mean, she's very lucky in a way because she has this very tolerant family. You know, and I mean, they want to protect her. They really understand who she is, and they really want to help her, you know, and to do their best, you know, just to make her happy. But most of the time, it's not happening like this. You know, there is a lot of family where it's really problematic. You know, sometimes it's the father, sometimes it's the mother who can't accept this kind of situation. So, I mean, there is no generalities that you can make, you know, it's like, I think it's different with every situation, you know, it depends. Even with the school, sometimes, because now Sasha, she has changed of school and she's in a much more tolerant school and she's much more happier now. And she's yeah, I mean now she's feeling very well, you know, but sometimes, you know, depending on the director of the school, depending on the teachers, everything counts, you know.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for your time and for being with us, and for giving the audience the opportunity to discuss the film with you. And we wish that we can see you again here with your next film in the festival.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sebastian. And thank you to the audience of the Budapest International Documentary Film Festival for being with us and for joining this conversation with the director of Small Girl. And remember that after every film premieres, you can watch it. The film is available for the whole duration of the festival, and the same with these conversations that we have with the directors of the films. You can watch them anytime during the festival. Thank you very much, and goodbye.